Greetings to all of you. Today, I want to talk about the new moon on June 6th. And remember that as we move into the time of the new moon, that is when the moon disappears from view for 3 days. It is not visible in the sky when it's within 13 degrees of the sun. So the day before the new moon is when the moon disappears from view. Then it's invisible that day. It's exactly conjunct the sun, the time of the new moon, and then the day after. In that 3 day period of the dark of the moon and then the new moon, it is a powerful time to release what you need to release before beginning this new cycle. It's an important time to set intentions for what you want to birth, what you want to bring into fruition or manifest in this lunar cycle. It's also a profound time, especially in the dark of the moon, for divination, for tuning in and getting guidance from the other realms. So honor that difference between the dark of the moon, which is the day before the new moon, and that energy of the new moon when we're then using that guidance, that time that we've opened to what's coming to us in our meditation, to then set our intentions and help to look at what we're trying to grow, what we're trying to energize or manifest in this lunar cycle. Let me tell you the themes of this new moon to support you and how you can be in your inner process at the time of this new moon. Let's look at the chart. The new moon will be on June 6th here on the East Coast in the United States at 8:37 a.m. with the sun and moon at 16 degrees of Gemini, part of this stellium in Gemini with Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, and Sedna, which really is way out in our solar system, has also now moved into Gemini. There are so many important aspects in this new moon, but let me highlight the core themes that I see coming through to guide us in this time. First of all, remember that the energy of Gemini is guiding us to look at our thoughts, how we think about things, how we communicate, what is the lens through which we're seeing our reality. And the Sabian symbol of the sun and moon at 16 degrees of Gemini is about how are we moving from our youthful, emotional ways of experiencing and understanding life around us to more mature wisdom. So part of the energy of this new moon is guiding us to be more conscious of our thoughts, of the way in which we perceive the world around us, and how do we move from reactivity, from the ways in which we've been conditioned from our childhood, from the culture around us, to move more into consciousness and into maturity and into wisdom. I think this is further activated by the square with Saturn in Pisces and Nisus, the healing centaur in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is helping us integrate our analytical minds with that mystical, spiritual part of ourselves. I see Saturn in Pisces as guiding us to be integrating science and spirituality, to honor that integration and maturity within ourselves of not splitting or polarizing our analytical minds and our intuition, our left brain and our right brain, science and spirituality, but reweaving them into an integrated whole. And with Nisus, the healing centaur that is about how we're healing ancestral wounds in this square, it's guiding us in how to let go of, how to heal patterns that we may have inherited from our family lineage to come more into that integration within ourselves. It's also significant that These planets in Gemini are also sextiling Chiron and Hygeia at 22 degrees of Aries, supporting us in healing emotionally and physically and healing our sense of self. And with Arizona close by, it's supporting us in innovative, holistic ways of healing and moving in new directions with our sense of self. It's also profound that we have a grand trine with the stellium in Gemini and Chariklo here at 17 degrees of Aquarius, and the south node at 13 degrees of Libra, with Maki Maki conjunct at 8 degrees of Libra. Remember, a grand trine is activating energies to come into collaboration, communication, connection with each other to manifest something. A trine is always in one element, and in this case, it's an air trine. So it's supporting how we think, how we're perceiving ourselves and the world around us. And with Chariklo and Aquarius, it's saying, allow yourself to hold yourself and others in compassion. Chariklo is that healing energy that is about holding presence, being willing to listen, to be empathic, to be compassionate. And it's in aspect to the South Node in Libra. How are we coming into balance, right harmony with ourselves, with our relationships, Libra, with each other? And Maki Maki in the mix is supporting us also in honoring how we are in relationship with the earth. Remember, Maki Maki is the creation deity of the ancient culture of Easter Island and is supporting us in gaining in wisdom in how we are in relationship with the energies of the earth and the other forms of life around us. So we're actively being supported in healing our relationships with each other, with ourselves, with the earth, and having that reshape how we think about ourselves, about life, about the world around us. When you have a stellium and all of these planets are conjunct the sun at the time of this new moon, it means they're under the beams of the sun. They're invisible from view. And I like to think about planets in that conjunction with the sun as in an alchemical process where the light and energy of the sun is burning away what needs to be cleansed, what needs to be released from the energies of those planets to support us in moving into those archetypal energies in a new, more healed, more whole way. So the planets conjunct the sun and this new moon are Venus exactly at 16 degrees of Gemini with the sun and the moon, and then Mercury and Jupiter. Remember that Venus is in its superior conjunction with the sun, so it's outside the sun from our Earth perspective, communing with the stars, helping us reflect on our relationships here on the Earth plane, but also helping us remember our connection with the cosmos, to open to the wisdom of the stars. This new moon is guiding us to remember that we are galactic citizens in relationship with the sea of cosmic consciousness. And this is a profound time at this new moon to open to the guidance that's there for you from the stars, from the other realms, from your own inner knowing. And with Mercury and Jupiter also as part of this stellium and under the beams of the sun, it's again about how we think and perceive things, our beliefs. Jupiter are being reshaped by the light and wisdom of the sun. Remember that in this time, we are experiencing so much light and cosmic energy coming to us from the sun, from the galactic center to reshape us. It is affecting us physically. It is affecting us emotionally, spiritually, energetically, as we're being infused with these energies of light and the wisdom of the cosmos to be reshaping who we are, to be supporting us in moving into being homo luminous ones and into that maturity of wisdom that comes with consciousness and enlightenment. So this new moon is supporting us in burning away what we need to release to open into new paradigms, new ways of seeing, new ways of thinking, new ways of understanding ourselves and the world around us. And I encourage you at the time of this new moon to take time to meditate, to do divination, pull a tarot card, or ask a question and wait for the guidance that comes to you. This is a powerful time to be opening to how you can be taking in that light and wisdom of our sun and the stars to support you in your own transformational process. Now let me show you where this stellium and sun and moon are in the sky at the time of this new moon. So at the time of this new moon, you can see that the sun and moon and Venus and Mercury and Jupiter are all in the stars of Taurus. And Uranus is close by. So let's think about the difference between the sign that this stellium is in, the energy of Gemini, how we think about things, how we perceive ourselves and what's around us, with the meaning of these actually being in the stars of Taurus. Take a moment and tune in to this image of the sun and moon and these planets in the stars of Taurus, the bull. And I want you to, without thinking about it, just allow yourself to close your eyes or look at this image of a bull and tune in to what feelings, what images, what thoughts come up for you. Take a moment and allow yourself to do that. Honor whatever has come to you as you open to this image and what it activates in you. And allow yourself also to be conscious of what this image evokes in terms of our collective consciousness. Remember that as we move through the precessional cycle and the different astrological ages, they shape certain paradigms and ways in which we perceive things culturally, collectively in our world. And these images, these symbols, end up activating thoughts and feelings both consciously and unconsciously for us. But let's just tune in to what tends to be the cultural associations in modern Western cultures, in particular, to the image of the bull. Let me just say some words and phrases that tend to be in our vocabulary, our nomenclature about how we think of the energy of a bull. If we think something is absurd, we call it bull, or other forms of the word bull. If we're overwhelmed with anger, we're mad as a bull. Many of you tuning into the image of the bull may have had pictures of bullfights and conquistadors trying to conquer or master a fight with a wild bull. When we're in the throes of a difficult decision, we talk about being on the horns of a dilemma. We think about bullying as when someone is trying to be aggressive or overpower us or abuse us. If someone is out of control, we say they're like a bull in a china shop. If we're trying to be in control, we might say, I need to take the bull by its horns. We even talk about things that we're targeting as the bull's eye. And we talk about changes in the stock market as the bull market. So as you tune into that, I want you to realize how much those images in our collective consciousness are shaped by images of aggression, competition, the effort to be in control, to conquer something that we see as a threat. The conquistador trying to defeat the wild bull. It's in the context of a paradigm of separation, of fear of what's different or other, and that need for power over, control, for conquering what it is that we see as a threat. Hold that in your awareness for a moment. And now I want to show you the image of the bull again and have you tune in to the way in which it was perceived and understood in more ancient times, particularly in the age of Taurus, when this constellation was prominent in its energy and in its being visible in the sky before sunrise at the time of spring equinox here in the Northern Hemisphere. It was associated with such archetypal energies as Hathor in Egypt, the cow goddess, and other images of sacred cows and bulls in India, in the Middle East, around the globe. Let's just look at this image again and tune into the way in which this image of the bull was perceived in that time, 4000 to 2000 BCE. The bull or cow or more ancient form of the bull, the auroch, were seen as a source of life, gifting the people with fur for warmth and food to sustain them. The cows modeled nurturance and good mothering. The horns of the bull were seen as the crescent moon. These cultures did not see the bull or cow as an image of aggression or destruction, but as the sacredness of the life around us that feeds us and nurtures us. It was a symbol of the sacredness of embodiment, of integrating who we are physically with who we are spiritually. Those images came in a time when we honored the wisdom of the sacred feminine and the awareness that all of the life around us is conscious, is sentient, is a part of the web of life, that we are in relationship with this sacredness of the life around us. And we too are embodied in form, but we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So I would encourage you at the time of this new moon to tune in to how these planets and the sun and moon are in the stars of Taurus, guiding us to look at how we think about this symbol, this image of the bull, and how we are looking at understanding our own embodiment and our connection with the life forms around us. Do we experience ourselves from that paradigm of separation and competition and fear, seeing what's outside of us as something to be conquered or destroyed or controlled? Or can we shift the way that we think? Can we shift out of these destructive beliefs of this modern Western mindset of separation and polarization to come back into connection, to come back into relationship, to come back into reweaving our experience of our physicality and our spirituality, to remember that we are a part of the sacredness of all of life. I think it's also significant that the sun and the moon and Venus are here in the horns of the bull, and they're close to the stars Elnath and Aldebaran. And remember, Aldebaran in particular, the eye of the bull, is about how do we live with integrity? How do we live from that place of consciousness and clarity? And with the sun and moon and Venus in the horns of the bull, again, think of it not in that association with the Western modern perception of the horns as a weapon, but allow yourself to weave that in with that ancient understanding of the horns of the bull as symbolic of the new crescent moon, supporting us in honoring this cycle that we're in with the lunar cycle, and the way in which the lunar cycle mirrors our experience of embodiment, of birth, growth, life, death, rebirth, and how we can be integrating new ways of seeing, new beliefs, new ways of being in relationship with ourselves, each other, the earth around us, and the stars beyond us. So allow yourself at the time of this new moon to be aware of some of these symbols, images, archetypes that we tend to take for granted in our current culture. These associations that we make without really thinking about it consciously. Allow yourself to take a step back and observe that in yourself, in others, and look at some of the ways in which we're caught in these mindsets, these thought forms, these ways of being enculturated into certain ways of thinking that then affect our ways of being and how we interact with ourselves, each other, the earth, and all that is. Allow yourself to be more of a witness to that, bringing more of that into your conscious awareness, so that as you're working with the energies of this new moon, you can allow the dark of the moon to be a time of releasing some of those paradigms and thought forms and beliefs that no longer serve you and that cause you to be out of balance in being in right harmony with all of the life around us. And allow yourself at the time of the new moon to seed new ways of thinking and perceiving and being that are more fully in harmony with the frequency, the energy of the sun and moon and stars, the celestial spheres. Remember that everything is frequency, everything is vibration. And I believe that many of the Kuiper Belt objects that are calling us back into awareness of indigenous creation deities are reminding us of that ancient wisdom about how we can feel, sense, perceive those frequencies around us and how to be in right harmony and right balance with those energies so that we are a part of this healing, loving energy and wisdom of cosmic consciousness, emanating that to all around us and being in right relationship with the earth as she is in her own time of ascension. This is a profound time when we are being called into higher consciousness, into a higher frequency. But to move into that higher frequency, we have to clear what would block us, weigh us down, or keep us contracted and constricted in these old ways of seeing and thinking and being that will pull us out of balance and not allow us to integrate these higher frequencies and this new paradigms and this higher consciousness. This new moon is supporting us to be allowing ourselves to be consciously aware of what thoughts, beliefs, constricting ways of seeing and perceiving that we need to release in order to open to this light and wisdom of higher consciousness to take hold and embody us and be integrated within us. And let me return to just a few aspects in the chart that can support us in that. I just want to return for a moment to this important trine with the sun and the moon, particularly with Chariklo. Remember that Chariklo from Greek mythology was the wife of Chiron, the partner of Chiron, and they are sextiling each other. And that means they're in collaboration, in communication, in concert with each other at the time of this new moon, and both are in aspect to the new moon. And I see Chiron as the sacred masculine form of healing and Chariklo as the sacred feminine form of healing. They both are within each one of us. And Chiron is that way of healing in a more active way. And Chariklo is about how can we hold that healing energy of compassion, of empathy, of listening, of holding space for another. And in the sign of Aquarius, holding space for each other in our differentness, in our diversity, and holding space for each other in sacred community. And remember that Chariklo was a sea nymph who morphed into the shape of a centaur to be the partner and the consort to Chiron. So Chariklo represents that energy of the shapeshifter, that shamanic capacity to attune to how to change who we are, to be that healing energy in the world. As we're moving through this time of transformation, she can guide us in how we can shapeshift, how we cannot be so identified with our identity from the past that we're unable to integrate this light and wisdom coming from the cosmos that is morphing us into new ways of being. She can teach us how to hold ourselves with compassion and hold sacred space to be shapeshifting into these new forms and new ways of being. But she also is supporting us in holding that gentleness, that love, that compassion for ourselves in our vulnerability, in our fears, in all that we feel, in all that we are, to know that we are held by this loving energy of the cosmos that sees us in the uniqueness of who we are and holds us in compassion and love. One of the energies of Chariklo is that you don't have to change to be loved, that she holds this energy of seeing you in the truth of who you are, seeing your essence, your potential, but also your struggles, your failures, your inner conflicts, and loving you in all of that. And the beauty of her healing energy is that you don't need to change to be held in her love and compassion. And when we take in that unconditional acceptance and love, it allows us to melt those ways that we get caught in our own inner conflicts and in our own self-criticism and in our own struggles, to hold ourselves with more acceptance and compassion, which then supports us in healing, in changing, in morphing into new ways of being and into ways that we can feel the sacredness of the uniqueness of who we are in this lifetime. We can integrate our embodiment with our spirituality. We can hold this unique personality and expression of who we are in this world, in this time, with compassion, but also feel with her healing energy holding us and supporting us, that we can begin to release those ways in which we are not in alignment with our true selves, that we are not living in integration with our soul's path and purpose. She can support us in then manifesting who we are in a way that is coming from our hearts and living from our inner truth. So know that this is a very gentle but very powerful new moon that can support you in being more conscious of these thoughts, beliefs, ways of perceiving not only the world around you, but yourself, and how you can take in not only this light from the sun, helping us mature, helping us move more into wisdom and higher consciousness, but that you can take in this gentle, quiet, powerful presence of Chariklo to hold you in love and compassion and to support you in melting away what is not true to who you are, what is not authentic, what is out of harmony, out of balance, to live more and more fully from your soul self and to honor your sacred embodiment. May this be a beautiful healing time for you at the time of this new moon. And may we together support each other in shifting these out of balance ways of seeing and thinking to becoming into that sacred embodiment, that energy of love, and that way in which we can attune to the harmony of the spheres and co-create a new world together. Blessings and love to all of you. Blessed be.